Hello everyone, we are from group 5. We are going to do a presentation about quantitative research. To be more precise, we are going to do a presentation about field research and lab research. We have 3 members, Johannes Levin, Atala Maritika, and myself, Almaini Prasetyo. What is research? Research can be interpreted as careful consideration of a study regarding particular concern or problem using scientific method. It's usually used the process of systematic analysis that requires collection of data, documentation of critical information, and analysis along with an interpretation of that information. Research purpose is to enhance society by advancing knowledge of scientific theories such as concepts and ideas. This purpose is met through forming hypotheses, implementing findings into real-life application, and forming new research questions. In quantitative methods, there are 2 types of research that can be highlighted. They are field and lab research.
So what is exactly a field research? Field research is a research that involves the study ongoing of social life or organizational in its natural occurring settings with the first-hand observations from the particular subject's frame of the references. Field research tend to observe the natural behavior on its settings in the resemble of situations where the participants might didn't know that they are being studied. So in general, field research is a research where the research itself observes the subjects on its natural environment. So there is a 5 distinctive methods on field research where it's conducted. The first one is direct observation, where the participants in their natural environment. The second one is participation observation, where the research is highly involved. So the researcher is no longer only as an observer, but also act like the participant. The third one is ethnography. This is when the entire community observes objectively. The third one is the qualitative interviews. These methods use the close-ended questions where the researcher asks directly to the research subjects. The last one is case study. A research based on an in-depth analysis of a person's situation or an event. Okay, there is several advantages and disadvantages of a field research. The first one is the advantages of a field research. It is conducted in a real world and natural environment where there is no tampering of variables and the environment is not doctored. And the advantages also due to the study being conducted in a comfortable environment, the data can be collected even about the ancillary topics. The advantages of field research also, the researchers can gain a deep understanding into the research subjects due to the proximity to them and the hands of the research extensive, true and accurately. The disadvantages of a field research, it is take a long time to conduct and complete. It is also expensive and a lot of cases invasive. It is also very difficult for the researcher to distance themselves from the bias and research study. The field's research also interpretive methods, and this is subjectively and entirely dependent on the ability of the researcher. So if the researcher is not capable enough to do the field research, it wouldn't come into the conclusions where the research are conducted. In these methods also, it's really hard or almost impossible to control the external variables, and this constantly alters the nature of the research. There is a 3 example of the field research. The first one is decipher social metrics in the SLAM. This is purely by using observational methods and in-depth interviews. Researcher can be a part of the community to understand the social metrics and social hierarchy of a SLAM. This study can also understand the financial independence and day-to-day operational nuance of a SLAM. The analysis of this data can provide an insight into how different a slum is from structured society. And the second one is to understand the impact of a sports on a child development. This method of field research take multiple years to conduct, and the sample size can be very large. The data analysis of this research provides an insight into how the kids from different geographical locations and backgrounds respond to sports and the impact of the sports on their all-around development. And the last one is a study animal migration patterns. The field research is used extensively to study flora and fauna. A major use case is scientists monitoring and studying animal migration patterns with the change of the seasons. Field research helps to collect data across the years that can help draw conclusions about how to safely expedite and the safe passage of the animals. And that's all from the field research. It will be conducted next on lab research by my friend Atla Mardika.
Hello everyone, and today I'm gonna explain about the lab research. So what is lab research? Lab research is opposite of the field research, which is the research that conducted in the artificial laboratorium environments. Okay, so here I present 3 examples of lab research. The first one is the Manhattan Project. So what is Manhattan Project? Manhattan Project is a project that conducted by the United States governments during World War II to develop nuclear weapons or weapon of mass destructions. The second examples is, of course, quite recently the COVID-19 vaccine developments, which developed in the lab, in artificial environments that developed by various companies such as AstraZeneca, Moderna, and etc. And the last one is chimpanzee experiments, which is for me it's quite interesting because it is the experiments that conducted in the 1970s to see the behaviors of the chimpanzee and how similar they are with us humans. Okay, so here is the advantage of the lab research, which is the first one is the cost efficiency, as the lab research are conducted in lab with the controlled environments, in which make the research becomes more cost efficient than the field research that has to be conducted in the field with a tremendous amount of variables. The second one is the have a greater control of irrelevant variables. So in the research, there are various irrelevant variables that contradicting with the research, and in the lab research, those irrelevant variables can be eliminated. And the last one is that the lab research can be easily controlled and documented as it conducted in the lab. Okay, so there are, of course, various disadvantages of the lab research. The first disadvantage is that the lab research lack of generalizability, because in the lab it is controlled environments with the controlled variables, so it lack of generalizations. The second disadvantage is that the lab research lack of external validity, which might make the research become inaccurate. And the third disadvantage is that the lab research use the too small sample size, unlike the field research. And the last disadvantage is that the lab research, of course, is at artificial observations. unlike the field research that conducted in the real world situations, which make the research can be slightly inaccurate, more inaccurate. Here, that's it. That's my presentations about the lab research, and the conclusion will be explained by my colleague Almay.
The conclusion is simple. Both field and lab research has their own specialized and their specialty in their field, but if they are combined and then a researcher use both of them, that researcher or that research will have the best outcome and the best result. The reason is that if there are like advantages for these two fields, and if we can combine these advantages into one, in the end we can get the best outcome. Thank you everyone for staying with us. I hope that you all have a great day. Goodbye.